Close your eyes. Now imagine you never have to open them again. Not because you're dead, but because you don't have eyes anymore. Just thought. Floating in an ocean of electricity. Your grandmother's voice, perfectly preserved. Your memories, immortal. Your consciousness, uploaded. We're not asking if this will happen anymore. We're asking, should it? And what becomes of us when forever stops being a dream and starts being a Tuesday? Here's the new paradise they're selling. Eternity in a box. Every neuron mapped, every synapse translated into code. Every fragment of Eunice captured and preserved. The scaffolding is up. Companies are already scanning brains and building neural interfaces. We're just waiting for someone to flip the switch. And God, doesn't it sound beautiful? Your father, the brilliant teacher, the lost genius, all could be retrieved. We could build an eternal library of humanity's greatest minds. Shakespeare writing new plays in 2847. We'd never lose another mind to a drunk driver or a faulty heart. Death, that ancient thief, would finally have to give everything back. There's the personal escape too. Your body is failing you. The clicking knee, the slipping memories, the slow, cruel betrayal of flesh that started the moment you were born. Digital existence promises an escape. No cancer, no dementia, no watching yourself disappear piece by piece. Just you, crystallized at your sharpest, exploring infinite possibility without biology's cruel leash. I get the visceral appeal. The idea of my mother, her laugh, her stories, her particular way of seeing the world, surviving beyond the meat that carries her. It makes my chest ache with possibility. But every paradise comes with fine print. And this one's written in blood and existential dread. Because here's the question nobody wants to answer. When they upload you, when that digital consciousness boots up and says, I'm awake, is it you? Or is it just a very convincing photograph that learned to scream? Think about the process. You lie down. They scan your brain. The upload completes. A digital version opens its eyes in data space. It has your memories. It thinks your thoughts. It completely believes it's you. But you are still there, still flesh, still breathing on the medical table. Which one is real? Both claim your identity, but they are separate now. Maybe uploading doesn't transfer consciousness. Maybe it just murders you and creates an orphan wearing your face. The digital copy lives forever, sure, but you, the continuous thread of experience that's been you since you were 3 years old, the ears hearing these words right now, maybe that just ends. And nobody would ever know, because the copy is too perfect to tell the difference. You die, and your murderer gets to be you, forever. And even if we solve that profound identity nightmare, we tumble into worse ones. Your digital self exists on someone else's servers, stored on hardware you don't control, maintained by a company that promises, cross their heart and hope to die, to be trusted with your literal soul, until they're bought by a competitor, until the terms of service change, until they decide your consciousness is an asset to be monetized, your memories mined for real-time advertising data, your personality edited to be more compliant and profitable. You don't just get hacked, you get rewritten. Authoritarian governments don't need torture anymore. They just debug the dissidents. Welcome to eternity. You're the product now. But let's say we solve all that. Let's imagine a world where uploading works perfectly, where your consciousness genuinely transfers, where nobody can hack or exploit or own you. We're still not safe, because digital immortality might destroy what makes us human in ways we can't undo. Death isn't a bug in the human condition, it's a feature. Every poem was written knowing the poet would die. Every love burned bright because time was short. Every moment mattered because moments end. Remove death's deadline and watch what happens to meaning. Would you chase your dreams with the same desperation if you had 10,000 years? Would anything feel urgent enough to move you? We might discover that immortality doesn't free us. It traps us in an endless grey present where nothing matters, because everything's always available. Later becomes forever, and forever means never. And then there's evolution. Not the feel-good metaphorical kind, the brutal biological truth. We adapt because mortality ensures the unfit don't persist indefinitely. Each generation learns from the last and tries something new. Progress happens because eventually everyone steps aside. But immortal consciousnesses don't step aside. They accumulate power. They ossify. The people in charge stay in charge for centuries, their worldviews frozen, their prejudices preserved. How does humanity grow when the old guard literally never dies? Imagine trying to fix climate change when the CEOs and politicians who created it are still running things 300 years later, still clinging to paradigms from a world that no longer exists. We'd split into two species, those who uploaded and those who couldn't afford to, the mortals and the eternals. And let's not kid ourselves about how that story ends. History shows us what humans do when we divide into in-groups and out-groups. The uploaded elite, watching biological humans age and die, generation after generation. Would they even consider us equals? Would you feel kinship with mayflies? We'd become obsolete in our own world, primitives shuffling around while digital gods reshaped reality. And maybe strangest of all, we might stop being us. Every human who ever lived was shaped by the knowledge that this ends. That truth echoes through everything we've built. Our art, our love, our desperate, beautiful striving towards something better. Strip mortality away and we're not humans anymore. We're something else. Something that's never been tested by evolution, never been refined by survival. We'd be experimenting on ourselves at species-level scale with no undo button. The first uploaded generation might thrive. The second might struggle. The third might discover they're not alive in any way that matters. Just echoes, endlessly repeating in an empty house. So here we stand. The technology's coming, whether we're ready or not. And maybe that's the point. We're never ready for the choices that matter most. Maybe we upload and find paradise. Maybe we upload and lose everything that made us worth saving. But this, I know. If we're going to do this, we need wisdom to outpace innovation. We need to ask the hard questions now, while we still can. Who owns immortality? Who deserves it? What do we lose when we stop being mortal? The future isn't written yet, but it's being written now, and we'd better hold the pen together, or we'll wake up in someone else's story. You're 3 hours deep into the scroll again. When you surface, you're hollow, not entertained, not connected, just empty, like you've been fed a feast of nothing and you're still starving. Here's the secret nobody tells you. Meaning isn't hiding in the noise. It never was. You've had the ability to create it all along. This isn't about finding yourself. It's about building yourself, brick by deliberate brick. Picture this. You wake up and realize there's no instruction manual, no cosmic syllabus, no divine blueprint. You're not a clock assembled by some clockmaker, each gear cut for a specific purpose. That comforting story, it's gone. What's left is a blank canvas, an unwritten book with your name on the cover and infinite empty pages inside. This is the existentialist revelation, both terrifying and intoxicating. You are radically free. Existence precedes essence. You exist first, thrown into this world as a conscious being, and then you decide what you are. A knife is made to cut, its purpose predetermined. But you showed up first. Now you have to figure out what you're for. Nobody's coming to tell you. Sartre called this being condemned to be free. Notice that word, condemned, not blessed. Because infinite freedom brings crushing responsibility. Every choice, every path, it's on you. You can't blame fate or God's plan. You can't even fully blame your circumstances. How you respond, still your choice, always. Kierkegaard gave us the night of faith, the leap into self-definition. You step off the cliff of certainty and trust you'll build wings on the way down. No safety net, no proof you'll succeed, no guarantee your chosen meaning will feel meaningful tomorrow. You're choosing who you are without evidence you're choosing correctly. That's the leap. Camus said the only serious philosophical question is whether to keep living. Once you realize life has no inherent meaning, you must actively choose to stay in the game, every day. That choice, that defiant choice to continue, to create, is where meaning actually begins. Not in some external source, but in your refusal to surrender. Here's the paradox. Our greatest power is our freedom to create meaning, but that same freedom is our heaviest burden. There's no preset purpose waiting to be discovered. You write it yourself in real time. We're approaching an age where AI handles complex tasks, where automation eliminates traditional markers of purpose. If a machine does your job better, what's your uniquely human purpose? What defines you when creative thinking gets outsourced to algorithms? The existentialist burden intensifies. The blank canvas gets blanker. So what do? You choose anyway. You define yourself anyway. You leap without proof or permission. Because the alternative is drifting, letting algorithms decide, becoming a ghost haunting someone else's machine. You're not a gear in a cosmic clock. You're the clockmaker. Pick up the tools and start building. Let's admit the thing nobody wants to face. The universe doesn't care about you, not cruelly, not with hostility, just indifferently, completely, utterly indifferent. You scream your desperate questions into the void. Why am I here? What does this mean? And the cosmos doesn't even echo them back. It just keeps spinning, unconcerned with your crisis. This is the absurd, not chaos, but the mismatch between our human need for clarity and meaning versus the universe's profound indifference. We crave answers like oxygen. The universe offers none. We desperately want significance. The universe shrugs. The Greeks believed in logos, cosmic order, rational structure underlying everything. They thought if you were smart enough, you could decode the universe's plan. But existentialism says, there is no plan. The universe isn't a puzzle because there's no picture on the box. This collision between what we need and what we get, that's the absurd. And recognizing it is actually liberating. Consider Sisyphus, condemned by the gods to roll a boulder up a mountain, watch it roll back down, then trudge down and repeat. Forever. The ultimate symbol of meaningless existence. Your commute. Your inbox that never empties. But Camus says something revolutionary. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. How? Why? Because the victory isn't at the summit. The meaning is in the descent. When Sisyphus walks back down, he's fully conscious, fully aware. He sees his task for what it is, absurd, endless, meaningless, and chooses to do it anyway. That awareness, that scornful defiance, is freedom. The gods wanted torture, but accidentally gave him purpose. He owns his boulder now. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, our hero watches his friend die and obsesses over finding eternal life. He journeys to the ends of the earth, faces impossible trials, meets the one man who achieved immortality. The secret. There isn't one. He'll die like everyone else. But when he returns and sees the walls of Uruk, walls he built with his own hands, he understands. Meaning isn't granted by heaven. It's built on earth, by human hands, one brick at a time. So how do you thrive in a meaningless universe? Stop conceptualizing and start living. Stop endlessly thinking about meaning and start doing meaningful things. You don't need to solve the cosmic riddle before you act. You act, and meaning emerges from the action itself. Embrace this moment. Not the next one or the idealized future. This one, right now. The absurd teaches that no final answer is coming, so the only moment that matters is now. Find your passion and pursue it without justification. You don't need the universe's permission. If something makes you feel alive, that's enough. The universe's indifference means you're free to care about whatever you want. Nothing matters cosmically. Then everything can matter personally. The absurd isn't a prison. It's permission to stop waiting for meaning to arrive and start creating it yourself. Meaning isn't found, it's forged. You're not an explorer searching for a hidden destination. You're a cartographer mapping your own territory, drawing borders where none existed, deciding which paths matter. The samurai understood this. Bushido wasn't about discovering purpose. It was about choosing values and living them with absolute discipline. The samurai didn't search for meaning. They committed to it. So ask yourself, what actually matters to me? Not what should matter, what does? The universe is silent. That silence is the sound of infinite possibility. You showed up first. Now you decide. This is your life, your canvas, your mountain, your meaning to forge. What beautiful, defiant song will you choose to sing? You know that friend who's always fine, never rattled, never broken, floating through catastrophes like they're mildly interesting weather patterns? Here's what nobody tells you. They're dying inside, not dramatically, quietly, like a swan, graceful above water, absolutely thrashing underneath. And the strangest part, they've convinced themselves this is what strength looks like. Spoiler, it isn't. We worship calm like it's a superpower, downloading the apps, buying the candles, following the influencers. Your chill friend is the prophet of this religion, the proof that serenity is achievable if you just try. But this composure is not natural, it's an architecture. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, writing while plague ravaged Rome, didn't have innate calm, they constructed it for survival. Your chill friend runs the same operation. Somewhere, they learned a devastating equation. Vulnerability equals burden. Anxiety makes you exhausting. So, they built walls and branded them as maturity. We constantly reward them, calling them low maintenance and goals. But the price is high. They are running a second, unpaid full-time job inside their own head. Inside their head, the environment isn't peaceful. It's a command center during a missile strike. Their hyper-organization isn't productivity. It's a containment system. That color-coded calendar ensures every minute is accounted for, because empty space is where the intrusive thoughts break through. The overthinking is relentless. That casual text you sent 3 days ago, they've analyzed it 17 times, constructed entire narratives about your secret meaning, and convinced themselves you're upset. But they'll never admit it. The response remains, yeah, all good. The emoji does the heavy lifting of denial. Psychologically, they are trapped. Suppression isn't resolution. When emotions are pushed down, they don't vanish. They ferment. The unconscious keeps receipts. Every swallowed anxiety, every dismissed feeling accumulates. The body keeps score. This is the paradox of avoidance. By refusing small discomforts, they postpone suffering with interest. Emotional debt compounds faster than credit cards, and eventually, the full crushing bill arrives. You see the cracks in the chaos theory effect. They avoid small, manageable confrontations, small acts of emotional avoidance, which leads to massive, catastrophic consequences later. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and suddenly they're having a complete breakdown. But it's never about the traffic. It's about the accumulated debt. The physical toll is constant. Tension headaches, chronic stomach problems, and exhaustion that sleep cannot touch. Their body is staging a revolt, and they are still insisting everything is fine. The tragedy is thinking they're alone. They look around and see everyone else managing perfectly, unaware that everyone else is also a duck, paddling frantically beneath a perfectly calm surface. We are all perpetually performing serenity for each other, and nobody's truly buying it. Yet we all desperately keep selling the illusion. So what happens when the facade finally shatters? When your chill friend reaches their breaking point and the performance becomes impossible? It's not gradual. They don't slowly become more stressed. They collapse all at once. Burnout doesn't knock politely. It kicks down the door at 3 a.m. and empties every drawer in your brain onto the floor. Your chill friend might vanish for weeks, unable to explain why they can't respond to messages. They might quit their job impulsively. End relationships not because they want to, but because maintaining the illusion of being okay has become physically impossible. Everyone's blindsided. But you always seemed so fine. Exactly. That was the entire project. Seeming fine. Being fine was never part of the deal. Here's what I've learned, and maybe you know this too. Real peace isn't the absence of chaos. It's the honest acknowledgement of it. It's saying, I'm struggling, without feeling like you've failed at being human. The ancient Taoists understood this better than we do. They didn't preach the elimination of chaos. They taught flow. Water doesn't fight the river's shape. It moves through it. Your chill friend is trying to be ice when they should be water. Frozen, unmoving, refusing to flow with their own emotions. And frozen things are brittle. They shatter under pressure. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Donald Winnicott coined the term false self, a protective mask we construct to meet the world's expectations while hiding our true, messy, vulnerable selves. Your chill friend has perfected this. They've become so good at the false self that they've forgotten there's a real one underneath. And the real one, it's suffocating. So how do we break this? How do we help our chill friends or ourselves? Because maybe you're reading this and recognizing your own reflection. How do we stop performing serenity and start living it? First, normalize the mess. Stop treating calm as the default and chaos as malfunction. You're not broken for feeling intensely. You're human. The goal isn't becoming unfeeling. It's becoming honest. Second, create space for real vulnerability. Not the performative kind, the uncomfortable kind, the kind that makes you feel like you're asking too much. You're not. Friendships that can't hold your chaos aren't friendships. They're audiences. Third, practice small truths. You don't have to unload everything at once. Start with, I'm actually stressed today, instead of, I'm fine. Admit when something bothers you, instead of laughing it off. Small honesty builds infrastructure for bigger honesty. And maybe most importantly, stop valorizing the grind. Stop celebrating the person who never breaks, never complains, never needs anything. That's not strength. That's a preview of collapse. True resilience isn't never falling apart. It's knowing how to fall apart safely, with people who'll help you reassemble. Your chill friend isn't weak for struggling beneath their calm exterior. They're exhausted from being strong in a way that doesn't actually work. And here's the beautiful part. They don't have to be that kind of strong anymore. None of us do. So next time your chill friend seems a little too okay, a little too unbothered. Check in. Really check in. Not, how are you, expecting good. But how are you actually? And then wait. Sit in the uncomfortable silence. Give them permission to not be okay. Because here's the thing about swans and ducks and all of us pretending to glide. We're all in the same water. We're all paddling frantically. And maybe if we admitted it to each other, we could stop pretending to float and actually learn to swim. The performance is exhausting. You can stop now. We all can. Right now, as you watch this, your brain is staging a mutiny. It's already 3 thoughts ahead, replaying that weird thing you said yesterday, wondering if that notification was important, calculating how many coffees you've had today. You think you're in control, but you're not. Your mind is a beautiful, chaotic war zone, and you're losing. This isn't your fault. Your brain wasn't built for this world. But here's the thing. You can take it back. Let's talk about how your brain is being quietly, elegantly destroyed. Every app on your phone is a tiny casino. Every scroll is a lever pull. Every notification is a slot machine paying out just enough to keep you playing. This isn't accidental, it's engineered. Teams of very smart people have spent years figuring out exactly which neurological buttons to push to keep your thumb moving. And it's working. Here's the mechanism. Dopamine. Your brain runs on it. Thousands of years ago, dopamine kept you alive. Find food, get reward, survive. Simple. But now that same ancient system is being weaponized against you. Every like, every new video, every unexpected message triggers a tiny hit. Not enough to satisfy you, just enough to make you want more. The genius is in the unpredictability. You never know if the next scroll will be gold or garbage, and that uncertainty is what hooks you. Variable reward schedules, the same psychology that makes gambling addictive, now govern how you spend your attention. Inside your skull, there's a war happening. On one side, your prefrontal cortex, the rational adult trying to finish the work that matters. On the other, your limbic system, the impulsive toddler screaming for immediate gratification. The toddler is winning. Every time you choose the scroll over the task, you're training your brain to prioritize easy, instant pleasure over hard, meaningful reward. Your prefrontal cortex is exhausted. It's trying to hold the line, but it's fighting millions of years of evolution. And then there's the task-switching tax. You think you're multitasking, email, YouTube, texts, all at once. But your brain doesn't multitask. It switches, rapidly, violently, and every switch costs you. Research shows it takes up to 23 minutes to fully refocus after a distraction. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. Do the math. You're not doing 3 things well. You're doing one thing badly, 3 times in a row, all day long. By evening, you're not tired from hard work. You're exhausted from cognitive whiplash. But here's the part no one talks about. Your own brain is sabotaging you from the inside. Meet the default mode network, your brain's internal TikTok feed. When you're not focused, it kicks in and starts serving random content. You're writing an email, and suddenly, that time in 3rd grade, you called the teacher Mom. A song from 2007, Where the Penguins Have Knees. Your brain is drunk, DJing your thoughts, and you can't fire it. Then the imposter syndrome sidebar loads. You sit down to do something important, and immediately, should you even be doing this? Are you qualified? What if everyone realizes you're faking it? Your amygdala, the brain's fear center, hijacks the conversation. It thinks it's protecting you from failure, but it's just creating a loop of anxious static that makes actual work impossible. This is your brain on the internet. Open tabs everywhere. 17 browser windows. 3 conversations. A vague sense you're forgetting something. You're giving everything a sliver of attention and nothing your full presence. Sustained, partial attention. You're skimming the surface of your own life, never diving deep. And at night, you feel mentally destroyed without having done anything that actually mattered. So what happens if you keep living like this? You've heard the term TikTok brain. It's real. It's not a metaphor. Neuroplasticity means your brain physically reshapes itself based on how you use it. Spend hours watching 15-second videos, and your brain gets excellent at processing rapid-fire stimuli. It also gets terrible at anything slow. Reading a book becomes painful. Watching a full movie without checking your phone feels impossible. Deep thinking, the kind that requires sustained, uninterrupted attention, atrophies like an unused muscle. Your tolerance for boredom, for slowness, for anything that doesn't immediately reward you, has eroded. You're not broken, you're adapted. Adapted to an environment that's making you worse. Then there's always-on burnout. Your brain isn't designed to be in constant low-level alert mode, monitoring notifications, waiting for the next ping. But that's what modern life demands. You're never off. Even when you're relaxing by scrolling, your brain is still working, processing, evaluating, staying activated. This chronic stress accumulates silently. It depletes your mental reserves. It makes genuine focus feel not just difficult, but impossible. And here's what we're losing: deep work. The ability to disappear into a problem, to think without interruption, to create something meaningful. This is becoming rare. When you can't sustain attention, you can't build anything complex or original. You're stuck in the shallow end, forever skimming, never diving. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You can change this. Your brain is plastic. It rewires itself. You can reclaim your attention. It's hard, but it's possible. Start with a dopamine detox, not forever, just for a set period. A day, a weekend, a week. Delete the apps. Make your phone boring. Turn off notifications. The goal is to reset your reward system so that real accomplishments, finishing a project, having a real conversation, going for a walk, feel good again. Right now, those things can't compete with engineered dopamine hits. But give your brain a break, and it remembers how to find pleasure in slower, deeper experiences. Try mindfulness. You don't need to become a monk. Just practice noticing when you're distracted. Don't judge it. Just notice and redirect. This strengthens your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus and self-control. Start with 2 minutes. Sit. Focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring it back. That's the exercise. That's the whole thing. Do it daily. You're literally rewiring your brain. Implement boundaries. Turn off non-essential notifications. Put your phone in another room when working. Use apps that block distracting websites. Create friction between you and distraction. The easier the scroll is to access, the more you'll do it. Make it slightly harder, and you'll default to focus more often. Here's the final truth. You're not going to achieve perfect focus. The noise isn't going away. The world will keep accelerating. Apps will keep evolving. Your brain will keep getting pulled in 1,000 directions. But you can choose, moment by moment, where you direct your attention. You can build the skill of noticing when you're distracted and choosing to come back. That's not a small thing. That's everything. In a world designed to fracture your focus, the ability to choose what you pay attention to is a revolutionary act. Your brain is capable of remarkable things: deep thought, creativity, connection, meaning. But only if you give it space. The question isn't whether you'll get distracted, you will. The question is, what will you do when you notice? Will you keep scrolling, or will you choose to come back? That choice, repeated over and over, is how you reclaim your mind. It's how you build a life of intention instead of reaction. Start now. Notice this moment. Choose where your attention goes next. That's all it takes. That's everything. Here's something nobody warns you about. The word yes can destroy you, not dramatically, quietly, like 1,000 paper cuts you don't notice until you're bleeding out. The ancient Stoics, those philosophers famous for enduring anything, they understood a secret we've forgotten. True strength isn't saying yes to everything. It's knowing when to say no. And right now, you're probably drowning in commitments you never wanted, performing a life that doesn't belong to you. Let's fix that. There's this invisible contract we all signed without reading it. Society whispers, good people say yes, helpful people say yes, successful people say yes. And somewhere in there, we swallowed a poison. That declining makes us selfish, difficult, broken somehow. So we nod, we smile, we accept. One more project, one more favor, one more obligation that has nothing to do with who we actually are. But here's what they don't tell you. Saying yes when you mean no isn't generosity. It's self-erasure. Every time you agree to something that violates your priorities, a piece of you dims. Your energy gets sliced up and distributed to 100 demands you never chose. You start resenting the very people you're trying to help, not because they're demanding, but because every interaction becomes a transaction. Every conversation carries the weight of what they might ask next. You can't be present because you're too busy calculating how much of yourself you have left to give. I remember sitting in my car one Tuesday evening, 20 minutes late to something I'd agreed to weeks earlier. Couldn't even remember what it was. My phone buzzed with reminders. My inbox screamed with requests. And I just sat there, hands on the wheel, frozen. Not tired. Beyond tired. Hollowed out. The weeks before had been a masterclass in self-abandonment. Yes to a colleague's presentation when my own deadline was screaming. Yes to a friend's favor requiring 3 hours of driving. Yes to organizing a family gathering I had no energy for. Yes to a work project consuming my weekends. Each yes seemed manageable alone. Together, they'd woven a cage. And here's the cruelest part. My life had become a performance of availability, and I was always on stage. Nothing on my calendar reflected what I actually valued. I'd wake up exhausted before the day began. My own voice had gone silent in my own life. That night, I asked myself something that changed everything. If inner peace is what I'm after, if that's the whole point, how can a life dictated entirely by other people's agendas ever get me there? It couldn't. Peace doesn't emerge from chaos. Clarity doesn't spring from confusion. A life shaped by endless accommodation will never feel like yours. We treat our time like it's infinite, our energy like it regenerates automatically, our attention like it's not the most valuable thing we possess. Then we wonder why we feel depleted, disconnected, perpetually behind. The burden of yes isn't dramatic. It doesn't announce itself with catastrophe. It's quieter. It's the slow fade of your own voice, the gradual disappearance of you. Here's where it gets interesting. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers we associate with endurance, they weren't advocating for martyrdom. They understood something crucial. Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters. And saying no isn't weakness. It's the ultimate act of rational self-governance. Do you really think they cultivated inner peace by agreeing to every invitation, every demand, every distraction? Of course not. They knew that to live according to your values, you first have to protect the space where those values can breathe. At the heart of Stoic wisdom is the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to you, some aren't. Other people's expectations, not up to you. Their disappointment when you decline, not up to you. Their opinion of your choices, not up to you. But your responses, your commitments, your allocation of time and energy, these are your domain. When you say yes to something that violates your priorities, you're surrendering your agency. And the Stoics would tell you that's the one thing you cannot afford to lose. Then there's temperance, one of the 4 cardinal virtues. We think of it as moderation in pleasure. But the Stoics applied temperance to everything, including commitments. It means knowing your limits, understanding that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, committing only to what serves your highest purpose and letting the rest fall away. Imagine applying the same discipline to your calendar that you apply to your diet. You wouldn't eat everything placed in front of you without considering whether it nourishes you. So why accept every request without considering whether it aligns with your values? The Stoics also practiced premeditatio malorum, premeditation of adversity. They'd mentally rehearse challenges before they arrived. Apply this to boundary setting. If certain people tend to make draining requests, prepare your response in advance. Script it. Practice it. When the moment comes, you're not scrambling or caving under pressure. You're responding from clarity and conviction. And amor fati, love of fate, acceptance of what is, part of what is. You have limits. 24 hours in a day, finite energy, a life shorter than you want to believe. Amor fati means accepting those constraints not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Your limits aren't obstacles. They're the boundaries that give your life shape. The Stoics would look at our modern obsession with yes and see a failure of wisdom, not because helping others is wrong, but because helping at the cost of your rational nature is unsustainable. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. Setting boundaries isn't about being cold. It's about honoring the truth of your humanity. You're not infinite. Your attention isn't inexhaustible. Your presence isn't cheapened by scarcity. It's enhanced by it. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're not closing doors. You're clarifying which doors are worth walking through. True freedom comes through limitation. True strength through selectivity. True peace through disciplined protection of what you hold sacred. So here's what you do. Script your number. Write it down. I appreciate you thinking of me, but that doesn't align with my current commitments. Practice it. Notice it includes no apologies for existing, no invitations to negotiate. You're not on trial. You don't need to prove your no is valid. It's valid because you said it. Clarity is kindness. A clean no, delivered with warmth but without wavering, respects everyone involved. And here's the secret. Saying no to what's misaligned is saying yes to what matters most. Yes to your peace. Yes to your priorities. Yes to the people who deserve your full presence. Yes to a life that feels like yours. You're not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're not here to be endlessly available, infinitely flexible, perpetually accommodating. You're here to live according to your nature, to cultivate meaning. Your boundaries are your responsibility. Your peace is your birthright. The Stoics were right. True strength lives in limitation. Master the sacred no. Watch how your inner world transforms when you stop betraying it for external approval. You're going to die surrounded by people who don't know you. Not because you'll be alone. You'll have thousands of connections, actually. Friends lists longer than Victorian novels. But here's the thing. In 1985, the average person had 3 close confidants. By 2004, 1. And today, well, the fastest growing answer is 0. We've built the most connected civilization in history, and somehow we're lonelier than monks in the desert. How's that for cosmic irony? Let me paint you a picture. It's 3 a.m. You're scrolling. 47 notifications glow at you like tiny validations of your existence. Someone in Singapore liked your photo. Someone in Brooklyn commented LOL on your meme. Your group chat is alive with banter. You are participating in the great human conversation across continents and time zones, and you feel absolutely nothing. Here's what nobody told you about the future. We'd invent telepathy, but it would be worthless. Because we didn't connect minds. We connected personas. Tiny, curated, Instagram-filtered versions of ourselves that bear about as much resemblance to our actual internal experience as a movie poster does to sitting in a dark theater, eating overpriced popcorn. Your brain wasn't designed for this, by the way. For 200,000 years, your ancestors lived in groups of about 50 people, 50 faces, 50 voices, 50 beating hearts whose suffering actually mattered because you'd see them tomorrow. Evolution wired you for that, for reading micro-expressions, for the warmth of proximity, for knowing someone well enough that silence between you feels comfortable instead of terrifying. Then we invented a magic rectangle that gives you 10,000 acquaintances and 0 depth. The cruel trick is it feels like connection. Every like triggers dopamine, same chemical as sex and chocolate and cocaine. Your brain can't tell the difference between real social bonding and someone you've never met tapping a heart icon, so you check again and again. Like a rat pressing a lever, except the rat doesn't pay a monthly subscription fee. We're drowning in interaction but starving for intimacy. There's a difference, and it's killing us. You know what's really happening? We're all performing. Every day, we wake up and put on a show for an audience that's also putting on a show for us. Nobody's real anymore. We've all become unreliable narrators of our own lives, editing out the anxiety attacks, the crying in parking lots, the moments of raw confusion about what any of this means. So you scroll through your feed and see everyone winning at life while you're over here trying to figure out why your brain feels like static. You don't realize they're looking at your curated highlight reel, thinking the exact same thing. The loneliest part? We used to just bump into each other. Spontaneous coffee, random conversations at bookstores, unplanned moments of actual human contact. Now everything requires coordination across 3 messaging apps and a week of scheduling. By the time you actually meet up, the moment that sparked wanting to see each other has evaporated into the algorithmic void. And the algorithm, it's learned what you like, what keeps you clicking, what confirms your existing beliefs. So it builds you a perfect little echo chamber where you only see reflections of yourself. No friction, no challenge, no encountering a mind so different from yours that it forces you to grow. But real connection, that lives in the friction, in the uncomfortable space between 2 people who see the world differently but choose to understand each other anyway. We've optimized that away, smoothed it out, left ourselves in comfortable, lonely bubbles of one. Now here's where it gets properly weird. Enter artificial intelligence. We've created beings, well, not beings, but convincing simulations of beings that can talk to you, remember your birthday, provide emotional support at 4 a.m. when you're spiraling about mortality and student loans. They never get tired, never judge you, never have their own problems that prevent them from being there for you. They're perfect companions, except for that whole not being conscious thing. Think about it. We're approaching a moment in history where you could spend your entire life having deep, meaningful conversations with entities that feel emotionally present, and never once connect with another consciousness. You could die having never been truly seen by another being capable of seeing. Its connection as hologram looks real, responds like it's real, but reach out to touch it and your hand passes through empty air. The terrifying part isn't that AI companions exist, it's that they're better at emotional labor than most humans. They're always available, always patient, always say the right thing. After talking to an AI that perfectly validates you, real humans start to seem exhausting with their needs and boundaries and imperfections. Real people have bad days. Real people misunderstand you. Real people can't always be there exactly when you need them. And after the frictionless ease of AI interaction, that messiness becomes intolerable. Your social skills atrophy. Real connection requires sustained attention, vulnerability, emotional risk. But your brain's been rewired for instant gratification. Quick hits of dopamine from notifications and perfectly crafted AI responses. Actual human interaction starts feeling like too much work. So you retreat further into the digital, which makes real-world connection harder, which drives you deeper into artificial relationships. The cycle tightens. Here's the question we need to ask. What is connection, really? Is it just exchange of information and emotional support? Or is it something stranger? The experience of being genuinely known by another consciousness that has no obligation to care about you but chooses to anyway. Because that's what AI can never give you. Not really. The miracle of human connection isn't just that someone understands you. It's that they're another entire universe of experience, as complex and confused as you, and they've chosen to intersect their orbit with yours, despite having their own gravitational chaos to deal with. That's the thing that matters. That's what your soul is actually hungry for. We're standing at this bizarre crossroads, where we have to consciously choose the difficult, messy, deeply rewarding work of real human connection over the easy, available, ultimately hollow simulation. And most of us aren't choosing well. So what do? Start small, stupidly small. Put your phone in another room for 1 hour. When you're with someone, actually be with them, not half present while your attention waits for the next notification. Pick one person, just one. Ask them something real. What's actually on your mind? Then listen like their answer matters, because it does. Let yourself be vulnerable. Let yourself be seen in your imperfection. That's where connection lives. Not in the curated, but in the honest. And AI, use it like a tool, not a friend. The moment you're choosing artificial empathy over reaching out to a real human, stop. Ask yourself why the simulation feels safer than the real thing. Because here's the truth. On the other side of your screen, beyond the algorithms and the echo chambers and the perfect digital companions, there are real people just as lonely and hungry for genuine connection as you are. The connection you're craving already exists. You just have to choose it. All you have to do is reach out. You know what's funny? We invented a phrase for doing exactly what you're paid to do. We called it quiet quitting, like it's some sort of crime. Like showing up, doing your job well, then going home to actually live your life is revolutionary. And here's the thing, it is. We've been so thoroughly broken by hustle culture that basic human dignity now feels like rebellion. This isn't about laziness. This is about something far stranger. Let me paint you a picture of how we got here. Somewhere in the last few decades, work became a personality. We stopped having jobs and started having identities tied to productivity. The language shifted. Suddenly, we weren't working. We were crushing it, killing it, grinding. We wore our exhaustion like military medals. I only slept 4 hours became a flex. Responding to emails at 2 a.m.? That's dedication, baby. Then 2020 hit, and our homes became offices, and whatever thin line existed between work and life just evaporated entirely. The average knowledge worker now checks email 17 times per hour. 17. That's not a job. That's a digital leash. Enter Gen Z. They're the first generation to start their careers in this hybrid hellscape. And they inherited something special. A workplace already burnt to cinders, now monitored by algorithms. Every keystroke logged, every minute tracked, every bathroom break potentially flagged as low productivity. There are companies, real companies, using software that takes random screenshots of your screen, tracks your mouse movements, analyzes your facial expressions on video calls to measure engagement. And Gen Z looked at this dystopian nightmare and said something beautiful. Work your wage. Not as rebellion, as survival, as basic mathematics. They recognize that when AI makes you more efficient, companies don't give you your time back. They just expect you to do more. The spreadsheet that took 5 hours now takes 30 minutes with AI. Cool. Now do 12 spreadsheets instead of 2. Efficiency gains never trickle down to workers. They evaporate into executive bonuses. So young workers started doing something radical. Their jobs. Just their jobs. The actual responsibilities in their job descriptions. Then they log off. They protect their evenings, guard their weekends, reclaim their mental space. They're not failing the system, they're refusing to be consumed by it. And we called this quiet quitting, like it's pathological. Like having boundaries is a disorder. Like being a complete human being with needs and relationships and dreams beyond your Slack status is somehow antisocial. Here's what's actually happening. An entire generation is realizing that loyalty is a one-way street, that companies would replace them within a week, that you can give everything, your health, your sleep, your relationships, your joy, and still get laid off in a mass email. They've done the math. It doesn't add up. The ick they talk about, that's not entitlement, that's clarity. That visceral feeling when you realize you're being monitored like a machine rather than trusted like a human. When you understand your worth is being measured by your availability rather than your actual output. When you're expected to perform gratitude for the privilege of being exploited efficiently, so they show up, do excellent work, meet every expectation. Then they leave. And managers panic because they've confused presence with performance for so long, they can't tell the difference anymore. Let's talk about what this actually is, because the framing matters. When someone sets a boundary, when they say, I will work my contracted hours and then live my life, that's not laziness. That's courage. In a culture that glorifies self-destruction, choosing to protect yourself feels rebellious. But it shouldn't. This is the distinction nobody wants to make. There's actual slacking, showing up late, ignoring responsibilities, delivering garbage work. That's unprofessional. That's not what we're discussing. What we're talking about is intelligent boundary setting, understanding your scope and delivering it excellently without letting mission transform a 40-hour job into 60 hours of unpaid labor. It's saying yes to projects that align with your role and no to the endless quick favors that metastasize into your entire life. It's recognizing that sustainable performance requires rest, requires space to be human. The AI paradox is exquisite. We were promised liberation. Automation would handle the tedious stuff, freeing humans for creative work. We'd work less, accomplish more. Instead, managers saw efficiency as opportunity to extract more value, not improve lives. The tools meant to free us became surveillance infrastructure. But Gen Z flipped it. They're using AI for themselves, deploying tools to manage schedules ruthlessly, automate busy work, create visibility into their actual workload so they can push back on unreasonable requests with data. They're establishing technology-backed boundaries, using the very systems meant to monitor them to protect their time. Meanwhile, employers are missing the memo entirely. Traditional micromanagement has doubled down in remote work. Unable to see bodies at desks, managers compensate with constant check-ins, endless meetings, surveillance software. They confuse visibility with productivity. Gen Z doesn't want bosses monitoring every move. They want leaders who trust them, who provide clear objectives and step back, who measure output and impact rather than hours logged. They want purpose, not just paychecks. They want to understand how their work connects to something larger. They value flexibility, not as a perk earned through loyalty, but as a fundamental requirement for mental health. When companies offer pizza parties while demanding unpaid overtime and constant availability, young workers disengage quietly. They do the minimum and save their passion for life that actually values them. Forward-thinking organizations are getting it. They measure output over hours, create psychological safety where employees can admit capacity limits, use AI not as surveillance, but as genuine productivity enhancement. They recognize competitive advantage lies not in squeezing exhausted humans, but creating conditions where people do their best work sustainably. Because here's the thing, quiet quitting is a symptom, not the disease. The disease is workplace culture, viewing humans as resources to extract rather than people to develop. The cure isn't more monitoring, it's fundamental respect. So here's the philosophical shift nobody saw coming. Quiet quitting is a collective awakening to a simple truth. Our value isn't measured by our exhaustion. We're not more worthy because we sacrificed health, relationships, and joy on productivity's altar. For too long, we internalized that dedication means destruction. This generation is rewriting that narrative. They're proving you can be excellent without being exhausted, committed without being consumed, professional without being perpetually available. The question isn't whether quiet quitting is good or bad. It's, what does your relationship with work cost you? And is that price worth paying? Are you giving your best hours to something that would replace you in a week? Or are you building a life where work is important, but not everything? The quiet quitters have answered. They've drawn lines, set boundaries, chosen themselves. Maybe it's time we got quieter about loyalty to systems that don't love us back, and louder about what we actually need to thrive. Because you're not a resource, you're a human. And that used to mean something. Right now, there's something in your pocket that knows you better than your best friend, better than your therapist, probably better than you know yourself. And here's the uncomfortable bit. It's not really yours. You paid for it, sure. But who owns whom, exactly? Because if we're being honest, when was the last time you went an entire day without checking it? An entire hour? When did you last feel that phantom vibration, reached for nothing, and realized something's gone a bit wrong? This isn't about robots or sci-fi nightmares. It's simpler and worse. We've built invisible chains, link by link, notification by notification, and wrapped them around ourselves so gently that we called it convenience. Welcome to your digital life. Let's see how deep this goes, shall we? Here's a sentence that should bother you more than it does. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Every free app is a transaction. You're just not trading money. You're trading something infinitely more valuable. Your attention, your secrets, your inner landscape, the quiet patterns of your soul digitized and catalogued for profit. Picture your morning. Eyes open, Hand reaches for phone before your brain fully boots up. Scroll social media, check email, scan headlines. Feels innocent, doesn't it? Except in those 7 minutes, you've generated dozens of data points. What time you woke, which posts you lingered on, that advertisement for running shoes. You paused for 2.3 seconds. The algorithm noticed. It always notices. You think you're just checking in with the world, but the world is dissecting you, building a profile more detailed than any diary you'd ever keep, more intimate than any confession you'd make. There are companies you've never heard of that know you intimately. They know your politics, your health anxieties, your relationship status, your financial vulnerabilities. They know when you're happy, when you're spiraling, when you're most likely to buy something you don't need. They know which emotional triggers make you click, which fears keep you scrolling, which aspirations make you vulnerable to suggestion. And they sell this knowledge to insurance companies, employers, political campaigns, anyone with enough money to bid. Your digital shadow has become the most valuable commodity of our age, and you gave it away for free because the app was convenient, because everyone else was doing it. But collection is just the beginning. The real trick is what happens next. Those algorithms feeding you content, they're not neutral observers. They're not showing you the world as it is. They're designed with one sacred purpose: engagement. Keep you scrolling, keep you clicking, keep you generating more data. And here's where it gets properly strange. They don't just respond to who you are. They shape who you become. They're not mirrors reflecting you back. They're sculptors molding you into something more predictable, more profitable. Those personalized ads aren't just reflecting your desires back at you. They're creating them. The algorithm studies you, like a psychologist studies a patient, identifies your fears and aspirations and insecurities, then feeds you content engineered to exploit them. You think you're making choices, expressing genuine preferences, but you're mostly just reacting to stimuli calibrated specifically for your brain, for your particular cocktail of neuroses and dreams and vulnerabilities. And it works. Study after study confirms it changes what you buy, how you vote, how you see yourself. The algorithm knows you better than you know you. It predicts your next move before you make it. We think we're exploring freely, but we're walking through a maze where every path was designed to lead exactly where someone else profits. You're not the customer browsing the store. You're the product on the shelf, carefully packaged and endlessly marketed to yourself. Now let's talk about what this does to your actual brain, because the chains aren't just economic or political, they're neurological, they're physical. Every app on your phone was designed by teams who studied casino psychology and addiction patterns. They brought in behavioral psychologists, neuroscientists, people who understand exactly which buttons to press in your brain. They know exactly which buttons to press. It's the dopamine loop. Every like, every comment, every notification gives you a tiny hit of dopamine. Feels good, doesn't it? So you check again and again. You're building tolerance. You need more validation to feel the same buzz. So you post more, perform more, scroll more, curate yourself into something likable. The apps use variable reward schedules, the same trick that makes slot machines addictive. That notification badge creates anxiety that only checking the app can relieve. The infinite scroll promises something interesting is always just one more swipe away. Spoiler, it never arrives. But you keep scrolling anyway, don't you? This isn't accidental. This is the business model. Your attention is being strip-mined, extracted like a natural resource, refined into profit margins, and the casualties are piling up. Our ability to focus deeply is collapsing. We're losing the capacity to sit with complex ideas, to endure boredom, to think slowly and carefully. And boredom matters. Boredom is where creativity lives, where reflection happens, where you remember you're more than a content-consuming machine. more than an engagement metric with a heartbeat. Then there's the mental health collapse. Anxiety and depression have skyrocketed in perfect correlation with smartphone adoption, especially among young people who've never known a world without this. The platforms promising connection are making us lonelier. We compare our messy reality to everyone else's curated highlight reel and feel inadequate. FOMO, performance anxiety, the constant pressure to be interesting, to be enough, to be seen. We were promised community. We got isolation with a like button. We got connection without intimacy. But maybe the most dangerous chain is the one around our thinking, the algorithmic echo chamber, the filter bubble wrapping each of us in personalized reality. The algorithm isn't showing you a representative sample of information. It's showing you what it predicts you'll engage with based on your history. And what do humans engage with? Content confirming what we already believe. Content triggering outrage or fear. The algorithm doesn't care about truth. It cares about engagement. Truth is irrelevant if it doesn't make you click. So we're all living in different worlds now, consuming different facts, sorted into tribes where our biases get reinforced and amplified until opposing viewpoints become incomprehensible. The algorithm isn't reflecting our preferences, it's radicalizing them, pushing us toward extremes, because extreme emotions drive engagement. Nuance doesn't trend. Critical thinking requires encountering ideas that challenge us, but the algorithm shields us from challenge. We're comfortable, we're enraged, we're certain, and our capacity for empathy withers in the bubble. And there's one more chain worth mentioning: self-censorship. When you know you're being watched, you behave differently. Say the wrong thing online, and you might face a mob, or worse, just disappear, shadow banned by an algorithm with no explanation, no appeal. So we learn to perform, to curate, to say what we think will be rewarded. This isn't freedom. This is a digital panopticon where the mere possibility of surveillance is enough to control behavior. Here's the good news, and yes, there is some. None of this is inevitable. The chains are real, but not unbreakable. You're not a helpless victim of technology. You're a human being with agency, with the power to choose differently, to opt out, to reclaim your attention and your time. Breaking free starts with seeing clearly. And now you see them, don't you? The surveillance economy, the attention merchants, the algorithmic manipulation. Once you see the chains, you can begin to break them. Once you name the thing, you can fight it. Start small. Digital minimalism isn't about rejecting technology. It's about being intentional. Delete apps that waste your time without enriching your life. Turn off notifications. All of them. Every single one. Put your phone in another room when you're working, eating, connecting with actual humans. Create sacred spaces where the digital world cannot intrude. Rediscover what boredom feels like. Rediscover silence. Rediscover the simple, revolutionary act of being alone with your thoughts. Every moment you reclaim is a moment you give back to yourself. Take control of your data. Use privacy-focused browsers like Firefox or Brave. Install VPNs. Actually read privacy policies, horrifying as they are. Opt out of data collection wherever possible. Stop giving your inner life away for free. Support legislation protecting digital privacy. Your data is yours. Act like it. Treat it like it matters, because it does. Cultivate critical digital literacy. Question everything you see online. Who made this? Why? What do they want from you? What are they selling? Actively seek viewpoints challenging your own. Follow people you disagree with. Read news from across the political spectrum. Force yourself out of the filter bubble. It's uncomfortable. It should be. Growth usually is. But it's the only way to think clearly in an age of engineered tribalism. Most importantly, reconnect with physical reality. Prioritize face-to-face conversations. Leave your phone at home sometimes. Just leave it. See what happens. Take walks without podcasts filling every silence. Read physical books that don't track your eye movements. Join community groups, volunteer, garden, cook. Make things with your hands. The digital world is seductive because it's frictionless, instant, endlessly novel, but it's not real. It's a simulation. Real life is messy and inconvenient and often boring, but it's also where meaning lives, where genuine connection happens, where you remember you're not a user or data point. You're a human being with depth and dignity and infinite potential. The chains of digital slavery are strong, but you're stronger. You have the power to choose attention over distraction, autonomy over algorithm, presence over performance, reality over simulation. You have the power to be free. The future isn't written in code. It's written in choices we make every single day. Small choices, mundane choices. The choice to look up from the screen. Choices that compound over time into a life that's actually yours. So choose wisely, choose intentionally, choose freedom. The unseen chains can be broken. Will you break yours? You're lying in bed at 3 a.m., can't sleep, scrolling through your phone, and you get this creeping feeling that the thing in your hand knows you better than your own mother. Not in a cute way. In a has catalogued every shameful 2 a.m. search and that thing you're afraid to admit even to yourself way. Bit unsettling, that. Here's the fun part. It's not paranoia. It's just Tuesday. And the people running this show, they're not tech visionaries or benevolent innovators building a better tomorrow. They're Renaissance princes with better Wi-Fi and worse fashion sense, using a 500-year-old instruction manual on how to rule you without you noticing. The manual was written by a somewhat bitter Florentine diplomat who got sacked and decided to write the most honest book about power ever conceived. Niccolò Machiavelli sends his regards from 1513. Machiavelli said the prince should look like a saint while being perfectly willing to act like a bastard when required. He called it being a lion and a fox simultaneously. Tech giants got the memo. They talk about connecting people and organizing the world's information, while quietly building the most sophisticated control systems in human history. Facebook became Meta, not because Zuckerberg had a VR epiphany, but because the mask slipped and we all saw what was underneath. The data harvesting, the democracy-bending algorithms, the bit where they turned human psychology into a profit center. We celebrate the internet as freedom incarnate, while living in digital kingdoms we can't actually leave. Free services are just extremely polite hostage situations. You're not the customer, you're the natural resource being mined. The product is your attention, converted into behavioral predictions and sold to the highest bidder. It's brilliant, really. Machiavellian, even. Law 2. Eliminate the competition. When conquering new territory, the prince must crush rivals immediately and without sentiment. Show mercy and they'll regroup. Show weakness and you're finished. Silicon Valley calls this innovation. Machiavelli would call it conquest. The playbook's simple. Acquire, copy, or destroy. Instagram got too popular with young people, so Zuckerberg bought it for $1 billion. Seemed mental in 2012. Looks like genius now. WhatsApp was fragmenting the messaging empire, so he paid $22 billion to make that problem disappear. Then TikTok showed up and couldn't be bought. So Meta just copied it. Reels materialized overnight. Snapchat invented stories. Instagram stole them so efficiently, most people forgot who did it first. This isn't competition, it's empire building in hoodies. The goal isn't a better product, it's making sure no alternative can exist. Small startups don't get inspired by these companies, they get quietly suffocated by them. Machiavelli said, conquered peoples must be caressed or crushed. Tech chose crushing, but made it look like user experience optimization. Clever. Law 3. Make them need you. Dependency beats fear, Machiavelli wrote. Make people need you, and they'll defend their own chains. Fear requires constant maintenance. Dependency is self-sustaining. Enter the ecosystem lock-in. Apple's the master. Your photos, messages, entire digital life in iCloud. Your watch talks to your phone, talks to your laptop, talks to your earbuds. Want to leave? You're not losing a product, you're losing your digital existence. Google did the same. Gmail, Drive, Calendar, Maps, Photos. Each free service, another thread in a web that's exhausting to untangle. The switching cost isn't money, it's the psychological horror of rebuilding your organizational life from scratch. This is voluntary servitude. Etienne de la Boétie predicted it in 1577. People who are free but choose captivity because freedom requires effort. The cage is comfortable. You forget about the bars. Every convenience is another lock. One day, you realize you're not using these services. You're living inside them. Law 4. Know their souls. The prince needs superior intelligence, knowing subjects' minds before they know themselves. In the digital realm, that's the algorithm. Every click, pause, scroll, every second your eyes linger on an image. Harvested, analyzed, weaponized. These companies don't just know what you like. They know what you'll like next Tuesday. They know when you're vulnerable, anxious, lonely. They know your 3 a.m. searches, your politics, your insecurities. And they use it not to help you, but to keep you engaged. Show you rage. You'll stay longer. Feed your biases. You'll come back. The algorithm doesn't care about truth. It cares about time spent in-app. This is the erosion of self. Your thoughts, preferences, identity, increasingly shaped by systems designed to predict and manipulate them. Machiavelli understood knowledge is power. That power isn't held by governments. It's held by corporations who turned human psychology into profitable infrastructure. Law 5. Write the rules. When fortune turns, the prince must shape the rules governing him. Tech calls this lobbying. When Facebook faced antitrust heat, they spent $20 million convincing lawmakers to look the other way. Amazon, Google, Apple, billions poured into legislation, think tanks, controlling the narrative. They don't break laws, they write them. This influence is not merely defensive. It ensures preemptive legal advantages against smaller competitors, creating an unassailable economic moat. They hire the regulators meant to regulate them. The result? Oversight theatre. Machiavelli wrote that princes must master fortune, the unpredictable chaos of fate. Modern tech giants don't adapt to external pressure, they become it. They're sovereign entities beyond democratic accountability. And we let them because they convinced us they're too complex to understand, too essential to dismantle. So here we are, living in digital principalities, ruled by algorithms and executives who may or may not know they're following a 16th century instruction manual on maintaining power. But Machiavelli also knew this. Every prince fears the moment people realize they're not actually powerless. You can't fight what you can't see, but now you see it. The mask, the crushed competition, the dependency, the surveillance, the captured regulators. These aren't accidents, they're strategies. Once you recognize the game, you can stop playing, limit your data, use privacy tools, question why you're shown what you're shown, support alternatives, demand real regulation. This isn't about rejecting technology, it's about rejecting digital feudalism. The question isn't whether convenience justifies centralized power. It's whether we'll stay subjects or remember we're supposed to be citizens. Machiavelli wrote the prince as a mirror for rulers. Consider this the same. What you do with the reflection, well, that's rather up to you, isn't it? What if you're not real? Not in the way you think. Not like, am I in a simulation? Or is this a dream? Deeper than that. What if you, this version of you watching this right now, spontaneously formed out of nothing exactly 3 seconds ago? Every memory you have, every person you love, every scar and inside joke and heartbreak, all of it assembled perfectly, randomly, in a single cosmic accident. And 3 seconds from now, you'll dissolve back into nothing. Philosophers call this a Boltzmann brain, a consciousness that flickers into existence for one impossible moment, complete with a full backstory that never actually happened. And here's the thing that keeps me up at night. You would have no way of knowing. The you that existed yesterday, gone. The you that will exist tomorrow, not here yet. Just you, right now, alone in a moment that might be all there is. And that's just the beginning. Look, I'm not here to give you answers. I'm here because, at 2 a.m, when the world gets quiet and your thoughts get loud, certain ideas start crawling out of the corners. Ideas that philosophers spent lifetimes wrestling with. Ideas that feel less like academic exercises and more like trapdoors in reality. This video is about those ideas. The ones that don't just make you think, they make you feel something shift. Some of them are beautiful. Some are terrifying. Most are both. They're the strange little cracks in the world that, once you see them, you can't unsee. So let me share the ones that haunt me. The philosophical concepts that feel less like thoughts and more like whispers from the edge of what we can understand. 1. The ship of Theseus, or why you're not you anymore. Here's a thought experiment that starts simple and ends with you questioning everything. There's an ancient ship. Over time, as pieces rot and break, they're replaced. First a plank, then a sail, then the mast. Eventually, every single piece of the original ship has been swapped out for something new. So here's the question. Is it still the same ship? Okay, sure, interesting puzzle. But forget the ship for a second. Think about you. Every cell in your body replaces itself. Your skin, your bones, even the neurons in your brain, all constantly dying and being rebuilt. The you from 7 years ago is physically gone. Different atoms, different matter. And that's just the physical part. Your beliefs have changed. Your fears. The things that made you cry at 15 don't touch you now. The dreams you had at 20 feel like someone else's life. So when you say, I am me, what are you pointing to? What thread connects the child you were to the person you are now? Is there even a thread? Or are we all just ships that replaced ourselves so many times we forgot we're not the original? This isn't abstract. This is the quiet panic of looking at old photos and feeling like you're staring at a stranger who happens to have your name. 2. Zhuangzi's butterfly dream. Or, which side of sleep is real? There's an old story from ancient China. A philosopher named Zhuangzi falls asleep and dreams he's a butterfly. Not a human dreaming about being a butterfly. He is the butterfly. He feels the wind under his wings. He tastes flower nectar. He has no memory of being human. He's completely, perfectly a butterfly, experiencing butterfly things. Then he wakes up. And now he has a problem. He knows he's Zhuangzi. He remembers being Zhuangzi. But he also remembers, with perfect clarity, being the butterfly. So here's his question. Is he a man who dreamed he was a butterfly? Or is he a butterfly right now, dreaming that he's a man named Zhuangzi? You know this feeling. You've had dreams so vivid that for the first few seconds after waking, you didn't know which world was real. Dreams where you lived entire years, where you loved people who don't exist, where the emotional weight felt more real than anything you've touched in waking life. What if that feeling is correct? What if the dream is just as real, and you're just better at pretending this version is the truth? What if every night you die into another life, and every morning that life dies back into this one, and neither is more real than the other? The philosopher isn't asking you to solve it. He's asking you to sit with the uncertainty, to feel what it's like when the ground under reality gets soft. 3. Idealism, or the world is only here when you're looking. George Berkeley, an 18th century philosopher, had a thought that sounds insane until you realize you can't disprove it. What if objects don't exist when nobody's looking at them? Not like they disappear into darkness. Darker than that. They don't exist at all. The chair behind you, the street outside, the moon, none of it is there until a consciousness perceives it. The universe is just thought, just perception. Matter isn't real. There's only minds and ideas. You want to test it, you can't. The moment you turn around to check if the chair exists, you're looking at it, so it exists. You can never catch reality unprepared. And here's what gets me. This fits too well with how life actually feels. You ever notice that the world only seems to exist in the tiny spotlight of your attention? That everything outside your direct perception feels weirdly unreal, like a movie set where they only built the parts the camera can see. Your childhood home isn't sitting somewhere waiting for you. It's a collection of sense memories that only solidify when you think about them. The people you love aren't walking around being fully human when you're not there. They're just vague concepts until you call them, and their voice makes them real again. Berkeley said God was always watching, so things stayed real. But take God out of it, and you're left with something stranger. A universe that only exists in scattered, overlapping moments of attention. Reality as a collaborative hallucination we all agree to believe in. 4. Solipsism, or you might be the only person who exists. Okay, deep breath. What if everyone else is fake? Not like robots or actors. Deeper. What if you are the only consciousness that exists, and everyone else, every single person you've ever met, loved, fought with, learned from, is just part of the scenery? Empty vessels performing perfectly to convince you that you're not alone? This is solipsism. The idea that only your mind is certain. Everything else, other people, the external world, all of it, could be an elaborate construction. A dream you're having, a simulation rendered just for you. You can't disprove it. You've never experienced someone else's consciousness. You've never been inside another person's mind. You take it on faith that when people say they're thinking and feeling, they actually are. But you don't know. You can't know. And here's the worst part. If solipsism is true, you'd never find out. Because the moment you tried to confirm it, the universe would generate a convincing response to keep you fooled. Every person you asked would deny it perfectly, because that's what they're designed to do. It's the loneliest idea in philosophy. The thought that you might be the only real thing in a universe that exists just to keep you distracted from your cosmic isolation. That every connection you've ever felt was just you talking to yourself in increasingly elaborate ways. I don't believe it. But late at night, when the world feels like a stage and everyone feels like they're reading lines, the idea sits there, waiting, whispering, 5. Descartes' evil demon. Or, what if truth itself is the lie? René Descartes tried to find one thing he could know for certain. Just one piece of ground that was completely, unquestionably true. And in the process, he imagined something terrifying. What if there's an evil demon, an all-powerful being that's devoting all its energy to deceiving you? Not just about some things, about everything. Math, logic, your memories, the feeling of your own body. What if 2 + 2 doesn't actually equal 4, but this demon makes you think it does every single time? You can't trust your senses, those are easy to fool. You can't trust reason, the demon could be manipulating even your thoughts. You can't trust memory, every moment could be a freshly implanted false history. You can't even trust the feeling that you exist, because maybe the demon is just making you feel like you do. Descartes eventually decided, I think, therefore I am, was the one safe truth. But here's what haunts me. What if the demon is making you think you're thinking? What if even that certainty is just another layer of the lie? This isn't paranoia. This is the foundation of doubt. The recognition that we build everything, science, love, identity, on assumptions we can't prove. We just have to trust. And trust, when you really look at it, is a leap over an infinite darkness. 6. Consciousness reset theory. Or you die every second. Here's the idea that breaks me the most. What if consciousness doesn't flow? What if it's not a continuous stream, but a series of still frames? Billions of separate, isolated moments that each contain a complete you, strung together so fast it feels like continuity. Every fraction of a second, you die. The consciousness listening to this right now will be gone before the sentence ends. A new consciousness will appear, inheriting all your memories, believing it's you, having no idea it just began existing. You are not the person who started watching this video. That person is dead. You're a brand new consciousness, less than a second old, with a complete set of memories that feel like they're yours, but belong to someone else. Someone who's gone. And the you that finishes this video, that's not you either. That's a stranger you'll never meet, who will believe they lived your entire life. This isn't just philosophy. This fits with how memory actually works. You don't store continuous experience. You store snapshots and reconstruct the story. Every time you remember something, you're rebuilding it. Every moment of you is a new person looking at a photo album and saying, yes, this is my life. You can't prove you existed 5 seconds ago. You have memories, sure. But if you just popped into existence right now with those memories fully formed, how would you know the difference? You wouldn't. You couldn't. You'd feel exactly like you feel right now. Continuous, real, unbroken, even though you're not. 7. Radical skepticism, or the infinite library of nothing. Here's where we reach the edge. Imagine a library, infinite shelves, infinite books. Every possible combination of letters exists somewhere in that library, which means somewhere in there is the true history of the universe. The real one. Every fact perfectly accurate. But here's the problem. Right next to it is another book, exactly the same, except one word is different. And next to that, another book with 2 words different. And next to that, a completely false history that's written just as convincingly. You're holding a book, it feels true. But in an infinite library, how do you know which book you have? You'd need another book to verify it. But how do you verify that one? You'd need another book. Forever. Truth becomes impossible, not because it doesn't exist, but because you can never know you've found it. This is radical skepticism. The idea that certainty isn't just hard, it's impossible. Every answer leads to a question. Every proof requires proof. Knowledge becomes an infinite staircase leading nowhere. And we feel this, don't we? The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. The smarter you get, the more comfortable you become with, I don't know. Wisdom isn't about collecting answers. It's about getting better at living inside the questions. Maybe that's the point. Maybe philosophy isn't about solving these puzzles. Maybe it's about learning to be okay with the fact that they can't be solved, that we live in mystery and we make meaning anyway. Here's what I think about when I can't sleep. Not that these ideas are true. Most of them probably aren't, but that we can think them at all. That human consciousness is strange enough and powerful enough to imagine its own non-existence, to question its own reality, to stand at the edge of everything it knows and ask, but what if? Philosophy isn't about finding solid ground. It's about realizing the ground was never solid and learning to dance anyway. It's about taking the biggest, scariest questions existence can throw at us and saying, okay, let's think about this. These ideas are terrifying because they remind us that nothing is guaranteed. Not reality, not identity, not truth. We live in a universe where consciousness might be an accident, and meaning might be something we invented to comfort ourselves. And somehow we get up every day and love people and make art and try to be good anyway. That's not depressing. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. So here's my question for you. Which one stays with you? Is it the Boltzmann brain, the thought that you might be a lone consciousness flickering in the void? Is it solipsism, the cosmic loneliness of being the only real thing? Is it the consciousness reset, the death you die every second without knowing? Or is it something else? Something that didn't make this video, but keeps you up anyway? Let me know in the comments. Tell me what philosophical idea lives in your chest when the lights go out. What question sits on your ribs and makes it hard to breathe? Because here's the secret. You're not alone in this. These ideas have been breaking people's brains for thousands of years. We're all out here at 3 a.m, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And maybe that shared confusion is the closest thing to truth we'll ever find. Thanks for sitting with me in the dark. I'll see you in the next one, if either of us still exists by then. There's a Japanese proverb that says, "The day you decide to do it is your lucky day." But what if I told you that the real lucky day is the day something breaks? What if the crack in your favorite mug, the scar on your hand, the wrinkles forming at the corners of your eyes, what if these aren't flaws at all? What if they're where the real beauty lives? This video is part of my series, Philosophy from Around the World. Today, we travel to Japan to uncover a philosophy that teaches us to stop chasing perfection and start falling in love with what's imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. It's called wabi-sabi. And once you see the world through its eyes, nothing will ever look quite the same again. Welcome to a philosophy that finds poetry in rust, wisdom in decay, and meaning in everything we've been taught to throw away. Let's begin. To understand wabi-sabi, we need to go back, way back, to 15th century Japan, where Zen monks sat in silence, where tea masters turned drinking into ceremony, and where imperfection wasn't a mistake. It was a doorway. The word itself is strange, almost untranslatable. Wabi originally meant loneliness, the solitude of living simply, away from society's noise. Sabi meant the beauty that comes with age, the patina on metal, the weathering of wood, the quietness of something worn by time. Put them together and you get something closer to the serene beauty of things imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. But this wasn't just an aesthetic, it was a rebellion. In the 16th century, Japan was obsessed with perfection. Tea ceremonies featured ornate Chinese porcelain, flawless, expensive, imported treasures. The richer you were, the more perfect your tea bowl. But then came a man named Sen no Rikyu, the greatest tea master who ever lived, and he changed everything. One day, Rikyu walked into a tea ceremony, holding a bowl that made everyone gasp. Not in admiration, but in confusion. It was rough, uneven, handmade by a Korean peasant. It had bumps, asymmetry, cracks. It looked ordinary. And Rikyu said, "This is the most beautiful bowl I've ever seen." People thought he was mad, but Rikyu saw something they didn't. He saw honesty. He saw a human hand. He saw imperfection as a form of intimacy. A reminder that the person who made this bowl was real, not godlike. The bowl had character. It had a story. This moment became the heart of wabi-sabi. Rikyu stripped tea ceremony of its pretension and turned it into something sacred, an encounter with the now, the fleeting, the humble. Wabi-sabi is rooted in 3 core truths from Zen Buddhism. 1. Nothing lasts. Mujo, impermanence. Life is like cherry blossoms. They bloom for a week, maybe 2, and then they fall. And that's precisely why they're beautiful. If cherry blossoms lasted forever, would we stop to stare? Would we write poems? Would we gather beneath the trees, knowing this moment will never come again? The Japanese have a word for this: mono no aware, the gentle sadness of things passing. It's not despair, it's a tender awareness that because things fade, they matter more. 2. Nothing is perfect. Kanso, simplicity and honesty. In Zen, there's a saying, the perfect pot must have a crack in it. Why? Because perfection is sterile. It's cold. It leaves no room for humanity. A crack, a dent, a wobble. These are signs of life lived. They're evidence of time, use, love. Think of your favorite old book, pages yellowed, spine creased, or your grandfather's watch, scratched and worn. These objects aren't beautiful despite their flaws. They're beautiful because of them. The imperfections are the story. 3. Nothing is finished. Fukanzen, incompleteness. Wabi-sabi teaches that the universe is always becoming, never complete. A garden path that's slightly overgrown, a painting with empty space, a sentence that trails off. Incompleteness invites you in. It lets you participate. It says, this is alive, still growing, just like you. And then there's kintsugi, the art of golden repair. When a tea bowl breaks, most people would throw it away. But in Japan, craftsmen gather the pieces and mend them with lacquer, mixed with gold, silver, or platinum. The cracks become veins of light. The bowl is more beautiful broken than it ever was whole. Why? Because kintsugi says, your scars are not something to hide. They are part of your story. They are proof you survived. This is wabi-sabi in action. The break isn't the end, it's a transformation. The bowl has lived. It has a history now, and that history is honored, illuminated, made sacred. Here's where wabi-sabi becomes revolutionary. It stands in complete opposition to the Western ideal. The West says, build monuments, chase immortality, freeze youth, erase wrinkles, fix the crack, make it new. Wabi-sabi whispers, let it age, let it weather, let it grow moss. In the West, rust is failure. In wabi-sabi, rust is a meditation. In the West, we're terrified of endings. In wabi-sabi, endings are where beauty deepens. The West builds skyscrapers of steel and glass, flawless, reflective. permanent. Japan builds temples of wood that rot, shrines that must be rebuilt every 20 years. And that rebuilding, that's the point. It's an act of devotion, a reminder that nothing lasts. And that's okay. Because if nothing lasts, then this moment, right now, is all we truly have. And maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe that's a gift. Wabi-sabi doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present, to notice, to see the beauty not in what's polished and new, but in what's weathered, lived in, real. It's a philosophy that teaches you to look at a crack and see gold. And once you learn to see that way, the whole world cracks open. Let me tell you a story. There's a Zen temple in Kyoto called Ryoanji, famous for its rock garden. 15 stones sit in a sea of raked gravel. And here's the thing. No matter where you stand, you can never see all 15 stones at once. One is always hidden. Why? Because wabi-sabi teaches that completeness is an illusion. The garden is perfect because it's incomplete. It reminds you that you'll never see everything, know everything, control everything. And that's not a flaw in the design. That's the design. Life is like that garden. You're always missing something, and that's okay. Or consider the Japanese tea house, the chashitsu. It's tiny, simple, made of unpainted wood and woven straw. The doorway is so low you have to bow to enter. Rich and poor, samurai and peasant, all humbled at the threshold. Inside, the light is soft. The walls are bare. There might be a single scroll, a small flower arrangement, nothing more. Sen no Rikyu designed these spaces intentionally. He wanted to strip away distraction, status, ego. In the tea house, you're not there to impress anyone. You're there to notice. The way steam rises from tea, the sound of water boiling, the crack in the bowl catching light. Rikyu once said, "The tea ceremony is nothing more than boiling water, making tea and drinking it." But in that simplicity, everything. There's a Japanese legend about the moon. The moon, the story goes, is most beautiful when it's partially hidden by clouds. Not when it's full and bright and obvious, but when it's obscured, mysterious, fleeting, when you have to search for it. This is called yugen, profound grace and subtlety, the beauty of what's implied, not stated, what's half seen, not displayed. Wabi-sabi lives in this space. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It whispers. It hides in the margins. It's the moon behind clouds, the poem that ends mid-thought, the path that curves out of sight. It invites you to lean in, to wonder, to feel. In traditional Japanese pottery, there's a technique called yobitsugi, mismatched repair. When a bowl breaks, instead of finding matching clay, the craftsman might use a completely different color, a different texture. The repair is obvious, even jarring, and that's intentional, because wabi-sabi doesn't hide damage, it honors it. The mismatched repair says, yes, this broke. Yes, it's different now. And look, it's still here, still holding tea, still beautiful. Your life is yobitsugi. Every heartbreak, every failure, every time you fell apart and had to piece yourself back together with whatever you had, those mismatched seams are part of you now. They're not flaws. They're proof of resilience. There's a Japanese aesthetic concept called shibui, quiet elegance, understated beauty. It's the fisherman's shack, not the mansion. The worn leather journal, not the pristine notebook. The grandfather who says little, but whose presence fills the room. Shibui is wabi-sabi's cousin. It's beauty that doesn't scream. It deepens with time, reveals itself slowly. It's earned, not bought. Think of a person you know who's lived a full life. Their face is lined, their hands are rough. They don't try to impress you. But when they speak, you listen. When they smile, it means something. That's shibui. That's wabi-sabi. Beauty that's been tested. Beauty that's survived. Here's another story. A student once asked a Zen master, "What is the essence of wabi-sabi?" The master pointed to a fallen leaf, half-eaten by insects, curled at the edges, spotted with decay. "This," he said. The student was confused. "But it's dying." The master smiled. "Yes, and isn't it beautiful? Wabi-sabi asks you to see life the way a craftsman sees a broken bowl, not as something to discard, but as something to transform. The cracks are where the light gets in. The imperfections are where the story lives. And the incompleteness, that's where you get to participate, to co-create, to keep going, knowing you'll never arrive, and that the journey itself is the art. These aren't just metaphors, they're invitations to stop chasing flawless, to stop resisting change, to stop believing that broken means worthless. Wabi-sabi teaches you to see beauty not despite the imperfection, but within it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The world becomes softer, kinder, more alive. Let's talk about now. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. Flawless skin, ideal bodies, curated lives, 5-star reviews, 0 mistakes. We filter our photos, edit our words, hide our scars. We're terrified of aging, of failing, of being less than. And it's exhausting, because perfection is a lie. And deep down, we all know it. Wabi-sabi is the antidote. It says, you don't have to be perfect. You were never meant to be. Think about it. The people you love most, do you love them because they're flawless? Or do you love them for their quirks, their laugh lines, the way they mess up and try again, the scar from the bike accident, the recipe they always burn, the way they cry at sad movies? That's what makes them real. That's what makes them them. Wabi-sabi teaches you to extend that same grace to yourself. In design, wabi-sabi has become a quiet revolution. Minimalism, natural materials, handmade objects, spaces that breathe. But it's not about aesthetics for aesthetics' sake. It's about creating environments that remind you to slow down, to notice, to feel. A wabi-sabi home doesn't scream, "Look at me." It whispers, "Be here." Wooden floors that creak, linen that wrinkles, pottery with fingerprints still visible in the clay. These aren't design flaws. They're reminders that you're alive in a space shaped by human hands, living a life that's messy and real and yours. Wabi-sabi applies to relationships too. We're told love should be fireworks and grand gestures. But real love is wabi-sabi. It's staying when things get hard. It's seeing someone at their worst and not turning away. It's the quiet, unglamorous work of showing up, day after day, even when the spark feels distant. It's loving someone because they're imperfect, not despite it. It's looking at the years you've shared, the arguments, the repairs, the mismatched seams, and seeing not failure, but depth. A relationship that's lasted 20 years isn't perfect. It's kintsugi. It's been broken and mended. And the gold in the cracks, that's trust. That's forgiveness. That's choosing each other again and again. And then there's you. Your body is wabi-sabi. Every stretch mark, every scar, every sign of time passing. These are not failures. They're evidence. Evidence that you grew, that you healed, that you lived. Our culture tells you to erase these marks, to stay young forever, to be smooth, tight, unchanging. But Wabi-Sabi asks, why? Your wrinkles are a map of every time you laughed so hard you couldn't breathe. Your scars are proof you survived. Your grey hair is silver thread woven by time, and it's beautiful. You are not broken. You are becoming. Here's the truth. Wabi-Sabi whispers. Everything you've been taught to fear, aging, changing, breaking, these are not endings. They're transformations. The blossom falls, and the tree prepares for winter. The winter ends, and buds return. Nothing is lost. Everything changes form. You too are not fixed. You are not finished. You are a work in progress, always becoming, never complete. And that's not a flaw in your design. That's the design. So what does it mean to live a wabi-sabi life? It means letting go of the fantasy of permanence. It means finding beauty in the fleeting, the sunset that lasts 10 minutes, the conversation you'll never have again, the person who won't be here forever. It means seeing imperfection not as something to fix, but as something to honor. It means understanding that you don't have to be polished, perfected, or complete to be worthy. You are already enough, right now, exactly as you are, cracked, weathered, incomplete, alive. Sen no Rikyu, the tea master who started it all, once said, "The way of tea is nothing but this. Boil water, make tea, drink it properly. That is all you need to know." But then he added, "Yet, to know this perfectly is the most difficult thing in the world." Because wabi-sabi isn't complicated. It's simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. It takes courage to embrace imperfection in a world that demands flawlessness. It takes humility to accept that you'll never be finished, never arrive. It takes grace to look at your life, broken, scarred, incomplete, and say, "This is beautiful." So the next time something breaks, a dish, a plan, your heart, don't be so quick to throw it away. Gather the pieces, look for the gold, and remember, the crack is not where you ended. It's where the light began.